Hey guys, it's Danny. It's really early morning here, so excuse my voice, but today we shall make a Vanda seedlings update. Now, do you remember a few years ago I made a sort of a top of orchids that I do not intend to purchase, not anytime soon? Well, Vanda seedlings were among those top 5 orchids that I wouldn't have purchased. And what do we know? I kind of started to purchase them. And that's because, well, things have changed a little bit. However, the stress and frustration remains the same. Vanda seedlings do not grow very fast. You can spend up to 5 years until your seedling reaches blooming size. If you plan on making an entire collection out of seedlings, you do have a little bit of waiting to do. If you're okay with that, that's perfectly fine. But if you don't know much about orchids just yet and you're thinking, well, what a good deal, get some seedlings, wait a year or so and then they will bloom for me. No, that's not how orchids work. They are very slow growers, particularly Vandas. And some of them didn't actually bloom just yet. This one has no flower spikes that I can see, and look how big she is. So imagine something like that needs to look like this. So that is just a piece of information for you in case you are not aware. There's nothing wrong with purchasing seedlings, but at least make an informed purchase, right? And with that said, let us look at the seedlings that I have. We have good news and bad news. Some seedlings are doing better than others, but let's start with the bad news. So a while back, I received a few seedlings from one of my lovely viewers. They were just deflasked. They were just coming out of their sealed bottle. And these are the ones that are not doing all that great for me, I have to say. I'm pretty much rubbish with growing these. And I think I'll need to change the setup once again. So first I tried to grow them as my other Vandas, as you will see, in microfiber. It was okay. Problem is, it was kind of drying out a little bit too fast because the pots were very tiny. It was summertime and these guys really wanted to stay moist. Well, then I transferred them to semi-hydro and gave them more water. But as you can see, they don't look all that happy yet again. So at the moment, I am seriously considering to just make a tray with microfiber strings and put them there. Because it's not summer, the moisture will remain there for longer, so that should be okay, and I can just water them separately and make a routine out of it because I'm just absolutely not good with growing these guys. Oh, that voice crack. And you will see the difference between these seedlings and the other seedlings that I will show you. So what's the problem with these guys? Why are they so finicky? Well, they just came out of the flask. If you don't know what the flask is, it's a casserole or even a bottle which is sealed, completely sealed. And inside there is a nutritious medium, a jelly-like texture mainly made out of agar. So they're coming from that high humidity, low oxygen environment with that nutritious substance into the real world where there's a lot of air. They're exposed all of a sudden to bacteria and fungal spores and all of that, and their immune system is challenged at this point. Right now we're making the separation between the weaklings and the good ones. I did not help them in the process, I have to admit, but 1 year can make the difference between the seedlings that are vigorous and they will grow and make it into this world, and the seedlings which are not as vigorous, they might be weak and they might not have such a good start. And looking at mine, I can see some of them are a little bit more vigorous than others. You can see a few right here. This one right here is a little bit more vigorous. 2 of them, as I was saying, I already lost. And pretty much that's it. When it comes to seedlings, I have to say I do have preferences. I prefer the seedlings that are already, let's say, adjusted to life in air. And you'll see the other ones that I have are just like nothing happened. They're doing perfect. These guys that need to establish, they're not my cup of tea, they're not my strong point, but I think it's safe to say I'm absolutely horrible with these types of seedlings. And with that said, let's get on to better news. Alrighty, first off we have the Vanda luzonica, which I purchased 2 months ago or maybe a month and a half ago. Check out this leaf, it grew so much. It's so striking, this difference. These ones appear to be 100 times more vigorous and more adjusted to the outside world. And they are actually. So from now on, we're gonna see orchids that are actually doing okay in comparison. So this is my Vanda luzonica. She is one of those Vandas that I've kind of always wanted, but yet again, pretty hard to find a mature one. And I thought, you know what, I have enough Vandas, I can entertain myself with them while waiting for these guys to mature. And just look at this leaf. Now, funny thing, this one has a little seedling here, a little brother. It's not a cake or anything. The plants are separated. I'm just growing them in the same container. And this seedling is more or less the size of the other seedlings. But look at him. He is doing okay. The spots you see, they were here when I purchased this orchid, but he is producing a tiny new leaf here, and he does have a growing root with a growing root tip. You can see it there. And yet again, in microfiber, I'm treating these guys pretty much exactly like I treat my other Vandas, but I do not let them be dry for extended periods of time. I can go with my Vandas for 2 or 3 days without any type of water. They're fine because they have roots. They're massive plants. These guys, no. Next up, we have Rhynchostylis celestis. This is a seedling of an orchid which I owned a few years ago and I lost due to a fungal infection, I believe. And look at him. Again, he grew quite a little bit since I purchased it. He did hydrate a lot more, and just look at those roots. They're looking so great. And as you can see, they're still green, so this microfiber still has some water. So as you can see, he really enjoys this setup. But yet again, it will take quite a few years before this guy becomes blooming size. Just look how thin the stem, the axis is. It's thinner than my pinky. So yeah, lots of waiting ahead of me, but at least he is doing okay. Okay, this one, I'm not entirely sure you know. This is a Vanda Tricolor variety Alba, which is a white variety. Pretty much it means it misses a pigment. If I'm not mistaken, the red or brown pigment, it has yellow spots. And as you can see, I have 2 little seedlings here. This is the most recent Vanda in my collection. So nothing much to show you here except the root system, which is in pretty good condition. It is getting adjusted to this setup very well, but so far no growing tips. That's okay though, because the orchid is looking really nice. However, I do have the big version of this orchid, and in comparison, oh my, I have so much waiting to do. So let me just show you a mature version of this orchid. So there we go. This is a tricolor, but it's not an Alba form, it's a different form. And let's put them side by side. Ta-da! So there we go. We need to grow up quite a bit. Maybe not necessarily in height, but definitely you can check that leaf span, because as a Vanda matures, the leaf span of course gets bigger as well. So you can see the difference. But I have quite a lot of Vandas to enjoy bloom-wise, so I can definitely wait for these guys to bloom. These orchids are usually not very common if you want to buy them as mature, and if you find them, you know, they might not be very cheap, they might be quite expensive. So sometimes having seedlings is a must, or is actually quite a lot cheaper than having the mature version. Alrighty, this one is yet another tricolor, but it's the variety suavis. Do you remember when I purchased this one 2 or 3 months ago? I will put the footage on the screen so you can see her. Is it just me, or this one grew? Let's see. See how big she is? I don't think I'm wrong. I think this one developed and grew quite a bit since I purchased it. So I'll try to find that footage and try to make a comparison. Maybe I'm just seeing things, but she looks very good. This one is doing spectacular. As you can see, she is producing new roots. So no complaints. As you can see, I have 3 tricolors. The tricolor has always been on my wish list. And I have the Alba variety, the suavis, which is this one, and the mature one you just saw is the normal, maybe brownish variety. There's a bit of a debate about it, so I'm not sure exactly how that one looks like. It's gonna be a surprise when they all bloom. But yeah, we're gonna find out the answer to this question in about 3 years, maybe 4, 5, hopefully under 5 years. And lastly, the Rhynchostylis Gigantea, which is anything but gigantic right now because I purchased it as a seedling. But it grew. Ever since I purchased it, it produced 2 leaves or 3 leaves. It did lose 1 or 2 from the bottom as well, and right now she's growing roots right in the crown. I'm just gonna leave her. When I see a new leaf sprouting, I'm gonna have to do something about it, but for now, she's okay. So I have this one already for 1 year, and as you can see, not much difference growth-wise, but she does have quite a ton of roots. She didn't used to have this many roots, and she is enjoying the setup yet again quite a lot, but she is definitely a slow grower. The good news is these types of orchids do not have to wait until they're very big to bloom, so they can bloom at a smaller size. I'm hoping, I don't know, maybe next year in 2 years I might have a tiny bloom spike, not very showy, but you know, I just want to see the flowers, smell their fragrance. Somebody said it's not okay to say feel the fragrance, but smell the fragrance. Yeah, sorry about that. I'll try to correct myself, but when I talk like this, I rarely think about what I'm saying in the sense of seriously correcting myself on the go. I just speak because I feel like saying what I usually say, so it's hard to correct myself, but I'll try. And these have been the seedlings, the Vanda seedlings that I have. Some good news, some bad news, ain't it how it always is? But I'll try to do better with the other seedlings as well. I'll see. I'll probably just make a tray for them and maintain them watered better. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. And if you didn't know about Vanda seedlings, well, now you do. Be careful what you purchase. If it's not what you hope for, then just don't buy the Vanda seedling. Wait a little bit and get a mature Vanda orchid, which can bloom pretty much at any time. So thank you so much for watching. You know the drill. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe to my channel for regular orchid videos. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. And with that said, I'll see you all next time. Bye! I forgot to mention, we do have a Vanda tutorial, Vanda care tutorial in the description if you've never actually owned Vandas and you want to know a little bit about them before you commit and buy one. So just check the description. I added a link towards how to water them or how I prefer to water them in a home and a little bit more about them. Speaking of Vandas, I have a flower spike on my orange Vanda that I purchased last year, so quite a wait, but definitely she has a flower spike right now. It shall be the very first orange Vanda that I have in bloom, and I dare say it is very, very exciting.